Greetings, my name is Andrew Nette, and I am Link Digital's technical writer and analyst. And joining me today, again, is Maggie Finkle-Aucoin, GIS and Database Manager at Living Lakes Canada and Manager of the Columbia Water Basin Hub. Now, Living Lakes is a charitable water stewardship non-governmental organisation with over 20 years' experience working with community groups to protect fresh water. And the Columbia Water Basin Hub is a centralised online repository for water data collection from across the basin, and that's North America's fourth largest freshwater basin. The hub, which was developed with the assistance of Link Digital using the Comprehensive Knowledge Archive Network and launched in 2021, is designed not only to store past, current and future freshwater-related data, but to ensure adequate quality control and to make the data more shareable and accessible. Today, we're going to be discussing Link Digital's work in transitioning the hub to a fully managed CKAN hosting solution. But so thank you and welcome, Maggie.
Thank you so much, Andrew. It's a pleasure to be here again with you today.
Okay. Firstly, let's talk very broadly about CKAN before we jump into the managed hosting, although they're connected. The hub has been using CKAN since it was established in 2021. Can you briefly tell us why you chose CKAN and what impact it has had for you as the GIS database manager?
For sure. So I can't remember if we spoke a little bit about this last time that I had the pleasure of speaking with you, but like you mentioned, the hub was launched in 2021, and it was launched after a few meetings that took place here in the Columbia Basin with many water professionals in the region, where it was determined that there was a gap when it came to data storage for water data within the Columbia Basin. And this water hub was born to fill that gap, essentially. So in that kind of decision process of, okay, we know that we need a data repository. Now what platform do we look at? We had a bunch of criteria that we were looking at, something that was open source, something that would be kind of flexible, us able to create a platform that was custom to our needs. And CKAN really hit the bill on a lot of those items. And one of those was its ability to integrate with other databases, whether CKAN or not. So these were a few of those items that really pushed CKAN to the top of the list and ended up being the successful kind of choice for us.
What made the hub team decide to switch to a CKAN managed hosting solution? And I suppose linked to that, prior to making that switch, what were sort of the primary internal resources or technical pain points that the team faced while managing the Columbia Water Basin Hub in-house?
Yeah. So the way that the Columbia Basin Water Hub was previously hosted was a little bit complicated for us. So when the Hot Water Hub was born, it was actually born out of a partnership with a couple of other organizations. And it was via the Canadian Digital Supercluster, which was a really great kind of kickstart to be able to launch the platform. At that time, we were partnering with a couple of other organizations who were all kind of working towards water data monitoring goals. And we were actually hosting the Water Hub on one of their servers at that time. So we did have some additional support there, but it was largely still our responsibility to oversee kind of that hosting environment and deal with the occasional bugs or issues that were popping up. And within the Columbia Basin Water Hub team and within Living Lakes Canada, we don't have a ton of capacity when it does come to IT and digital services. So it was difficult for us working with Link Digital, who we already had a really great relationship with, to kind of provide them some insight to what was going on with the server, and then for us to also be able to enact changes on our end. So these all kind of led up to a feeling over the last couple of years, really, that we wanted to make the move over to a managed hosting service with Link Digital. But the thing that really kicked it off that in the last couple of months that really the turning point, I guess you could say, is we had an incident where the water hub became kind of overrun with bot activity. Essentially, kind of speaking with the Link Digital staff, we discovered that it was some sort of model kind of training itself on the water hub, and it slowed the service down to the point where the water hub was no longer functioning, which was a really big issue for us. And despite our best efforts, kind of doing what we could with our skill set to manage that kind of traffic of bots, we just couldn't get around it. And at that point, it was really clear we needed to make that change from a security standpoint as well, kind of all those other pieces. And then security on top made it a no-brainer that we were ready to pull that trigger and make the move.
Did that fix the bot problem out of interest?
Yes, it did. You guys are great. I work closely with Lex, and he, who is our product owner, and he was able to put some extra security in place once it was over onto the managed service with Link Digital, and we no longer have the issue with the bots, which is great.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
that's great. What did transitioning the hub to a fully managed hosting ecosystem entail? Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I think something that I had internalized a little bit was feeling like this was going to be a really big job. But your team made it so straightforward. So for us, it was just a matter of kind of kicking off that process with Link Digital and moving that service over, giving Link Digital the proper permissions, and then having it over there. I mean, on our end, there wasn't much change that had to be done, and primarily now it's just a matter of, you know, being more confident and comfortable in the kind of hosting environment that we have, and rewriting some of our protocols, which result in a bit less work on our end.
When we last talked in 2025, so last year, you discussed future plans for the hub, including the desire to talk to groups and coalitions in watershed areas outside of the Columbia Basin about setting up their own data portals, and I suppose a federated arrangement with those data portals. As you look at the scale of this, as you look to scale the hub into a national model for water monitoring, how does managed hosting facilitate the growth compared to your previous setup?
Yeah, our previous setup, so you're right, when we last spoke in 2025, that was our desire. And as we look at scaling the hub up now to be national in scale, storage was really front of mind. And there was a limit, a ceiling that we had with our last provider. And now, being with Link Digital and being on this new managed service, the storage component is no longer a concern. It also gives us a lot more confidence and trust in the infrastructure that is running the hub as we look at, you know, obtaining more data, and those types of things tend to typically, you know, slow the repository down. But within the new platform, things are not slowing down in the way that we would have seen on our previous service. So it definitely gives us the opportunity to host more data and move that way.
Oh, great. The portal allows you to meet the needs and values of many different groups. There's community stewardship groups, there's government, there's First Nations communities. And the latter, I might note, you're working with them while upholding the principles such as OCAP, ownership, control, and access and possession of their data, and fair. Is there any way that you can see managed hosting might help with this work?
Yeah, I think so. Given our last arrangement, while we did have a relationship with the service provider, we had a lot less kind of agency and control over what was happening with that server. Being with Link Digital and being on this managed server gives us a little bit more control over you know, the data storage, and the relationship that we have allows us to enact some of the protocols, you know, when it comes to deletion protocols and secure data storage. all of those kind of fall into this better managed service position that we're at. So I definitely see how this move has enabled us to, improve our ability to offer Indigenous communities, First Nation governments, and then also just our other communities who are concerned about their data security, a better space to host their data.
Again, another of the issues I think we spoke about, or we touched on at least last time we spoke, was the consideration of how the hub relates to potentially some of the AI tools that are out there and what you might do with that. Now, Link Digital's developed a new Ask AI feature, which is an AI-powered layer on top of CKAN that allows users to query and navigate the data on their hubs using natural language interaction. I suppose, is this something that you think would be a good fit for the hub? And if so, why? And was it a factor in potentially moving to managed hosting? And I suppose I asked that question noting that features like Ask AI require very robust back-end compute power and continuous optimization. So that, which is something I suppose you get out of, as you've said, you get out of the managed hosting solution.
Yeah, absolutely. Ask AI had been kind of on the horizon for us for a little while now, and it played a big role into wanting to move to the managed hosting with Link Digital for those reasons that you mentioned, kind of having that robust infrastructure in place. And for us, looking at Ask AI, it's a matter of another tool for making our data more accessible. When we think about the hub and we think about our audience and what we're trying to achieve with, making this water data accessible, it relates back to, yes, giving, decision makers and folks like that power to use that data and allow that to, make data-driven decisions. But it's also about letting folks who maybe have less technical knowledge, aren't as data literate, access that information. And Ask AI tool is a really great way to provide that service to our users, whether it's through, making searching for data even more accessible for folks that don't necessarily have the water language that they need to find information that's relevant to their questions, but then also to start to pull some insights out of the data that we host on the platform.
What metrics or indicators, either in the platform performance or user satisfaction or cost savings, are you looking at to judge the ultimate success of this transition to a managed hosting?
Yeah. One of the first ones that come to mind is, which has already kind of been the check mark of success, is the reduction in bot traffic on the Water Hub. We're not seeing an interruption to service. We're not having users experience an issue where the hub is slow or lagging. In fact, it's as snappy as it's ever been. So that's one of them. And then in terms of user satisfaction, we're constantly in chat with our data contributors and our data users. So we'll be looking to them to kind of hear their feedback about, any issues that they've experienced with the transition. So far, it's been nothing but positive. So we're seeing, again, good success on that side. And then in terms of cost savings, we will continue to kind of monitor that, but we're already seeing a reduction in time that we need on our end internally. So this, again, looks like another success point for us. So we'll be continuing to monitor this throughout the year as we kick off this new relationship with Link Digital.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, Maggie, thanks so much for joining me today. And for viewers, if you're interested in exploring managed CKAN hosting with us, please contact Link Digital and one of our experts will be in contact with you.